Good. It's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 6 o'clock in Chicago, and it's 7 p.m. in New York City. Hello, everybody. I am the Mad Dog, Mad Dog the Scipio, joined as I am each and every week by Amelia the Pitbull Chapman. How are you, Amelia?
Doing good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Look at me. Just look at me. I am wonderful.
Yes.
Say yes, Mad Dog. You're
Yes,
wonderful.
you are, Mad Dog.
You bet your sweet ass I am. All right. What did you do this weekend?
I just had a memorial service, a celebration of life for Jeff Saturday, and on Easter we just took it easy here at home.
Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. You finally had, a fond gathering for your late husband.
Yes.
It's just so strange to even say that.
I know, right?
It's just really weird, and it's nothing about Jeff. You know what? You did it again, kid. Nothing about him was normal. Okay, the way he lived his life wasn't normal. The way he died
planned
wasn't
it right
normal.
around Easter, which is one of his favorite holidays. So
Go figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Right?
it's a very fitting tribute then.
Yeah.
Look, nobody knows how we're gonna go.
No.
Tomorrow is. We keep saying that tomorrow is promised to no one. My father used to say that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You know what kept him going was his faith.
Yes.
So we got to talk about faith. The man in charge of much faith in the world, the Pope.
Yes.
Pope Francis has passed away this morning at the Vatican in Rome. We will talk much about the Pope tonight and tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get into down the rabbit hole of the conspiracies. Yes, folks, I know it's already early, but we're going to go into it. There are people, man. Whenever this is where I get in trouble, Amelia. Okay, because I got to open my mouth here. So here goes, folks. So what happens is whenever a very prolific public figure passes, especially now, they never die unassumingly.
Right.
They never just go quietly. As soon as somebody dies, boom, the conspiracy press is already running.
Oh, absolutely.
And this thing was this conspiracy train, woo woo. This conspiracy train was running before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there are people saying that he had passed a month ago.
Right.
The same thing with the Queen when the Queen died. Okay, and I believe that one because first of all, the royal family is a bunch of lying pricks. You can't believe anything they say. And as far as the Vatican concerned, well, they're even worse than the fucking royals because they'll lie looking at you.
Yeah.
Those suckers, trust me on that one. Yeah, Pope Francis passed away this morning. God rest his soul. We pray that he goes straight to heaven. Do not collect $200, Francis. Go straight to St. Peter at the pearly gates and say, Francis is here and I'm ready to do my next job.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll have a job for you.
Yeah, and they can say that he officially
What's your
died.
take on the Pope? I know you weren't Catholic. I'm not Catholic either, but everybody knows who the Pope is. What was your take on Pope Francis? What kind of what do you make of a guy like that? What kind of spin do you have on the spin? Listening to this, like
Right?
I'm not spinning the Pope's death for.
Right. Well, I mean, I
I'm
know that
really not.
he was, of course, wanting to do his job the way he was told to do, but I know that he might have wanted to cut some corners. I know that there was certain things that he had to do this year that he really didn't want to do, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Just one thing
Yeah.
that he didn't want to do, but um, he was really out more going for the public. I do know that he did a lot more appearances than the
Yeah.
other popes have done, and I think that's probably what made him more ill, maybe because of the, other illnesses that we had
No,
going around.
that's a really good point. That's a really good point that you make because
Mhm.
one of the jobs of the Pope is to be the goodwill ambassador of the world.
Yes,
And the Vatican had this guy in every corner of the world. He was always
absolutely.
somewhere. The only time, one time he came to America, and that was right here in Philadelphia. And he was here for 6 days.
Hmm.
He stayed at St. Joseph Seminary here, where the priest, they
Hmm.
learned how to be priests.
Yes.
St. Joe's University, very one of the probably one of the largest, certainly one of the most profound, famous Catholic universities in America, St. Joseph's. And the Pope was here. They had him all over the place. It's
Hmm.
funny because they wanted to give him, just to show you the kind of guy he was. They wanted to give him a big limousine.
Yes.
He said, no, just a little car is fine. And they gave him this little Volkswagen Rabbit or some
Hmm.
little Volvo, just a little tiny car. It was like this big, this car.
Yeah, because that's what he's used to in his hometown. Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so when he was here, he drove around in that little car. Well, that he didn't drive it, but they took
Hmm.
him around. And he did a lot. He went to prisons, hospitals. He went to schools and colleges. He went to talk to little kids,
Hmm.
to big kids, to prisoners, and he hung out with. He had dinner with the prisoners at the
Yeah.
jail. That's the kind of guy he
Hmm.
was. Um, One of the things though is like when you're the Pope, sometimes you got to do stuff you don't want to do.
Right.
They all have to do things they don't want to do. Well, people don't understand that the people that run the Vatican also run the Pope,
Right.
just like the White House. People think the president is the last stop. No, the president does what he's told to do
Exactly.
by people who you don't know and will never see. Okay, and you may not like that, but it's the truth.
Hmm.
And it is what it is. Okay, I mean, and I'm sorry if that bothers you guys, but it's the truth, and we're not going to lie to you here. Well,
Right.
Amelia won't much anyway. Um, but one of the things that I think is important to remember is that in talking about the life of Pope Francis, I think we need to remember that he chose to be a priest,
Yes.
which tells you something about him. It tells you that he cared more about people than himself,
Absolutely.
that he cared more about God than himself, that he was willing to sacrifice having a wife and a family to serve God. And I don't care how you slice it or dice it, but you got to admire that dedication. And
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And he had been sick in the last few years. He put on a lot of weight. He, in fact, he was yesterday, Easter Sunday. Good Friday and Easter Sunday, he
Hmm.
gave his Easter blessing,
Yes.
and then he died just a few hours later.
Hmm.
Um, he didn't look good. He had hardly any voice left. He would look like, I'm again just judging by what I'm seeing. He looked like he didn't feel good, and
Right.
he looked like he was having trouble breathing.
Hmm.
Because if you looked at the Pope's like face, all here was like this.
Bulging out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like like we say like double chin.
Yes.
Well,
He had.
he had like
Mhm.
really like it was like I used to look. Okay, I mean, you know, like I had five chins. I had so many chins I lost count. Okay.
Right. I think we all did it one time, right? But it was so bad. Yeah. It was really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, well, some of us more than others, but he didn't look like he was feeling all that well.
Hmm.
But he still went out there and did his blessing, and the
Hmm.
people wanted to see him. You know, look, the Catholic Church is still the largest religious denomination in the world. Second is Judaism. Third is Islam. Those are the world's three major religions. And there's other stuff that, the people who worship cabbages. And I'm not making any of this up.
No, he's not. Look it
I
up.
mean, you're
Trust
not.
me.
I'm really not.
He's not. No.
There is people will worship a fucking head of lettuce. Okay, if you say this is God, there are people who will worship a fucking head of lettuce. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how stupid people are these days. Which ought to tell you something. Okay, that they're fucking stupid. They really are. Wow, we got nobody in our chat tonight. I am shocked.
I know. Probably Leon and Rosie are probably
Wow. On
they're
a
probably here.
Monday, and Leon and Rosie are not
Hmm.
here, and Ruffian's not here,
Right.
and Kenneth Singleton is not here.
Hmm.
Damn, Captain Miserable. I think he gave up on you.
He probably did. No, but you were saying,
Yeah.
and I know that the Pope he decided to dedicate himself, and he worked up to his last day. And when people like that have that much dedication, he knew that what his job entitled. He knew that he had to do a certain thing, and he was like, you know what, I have to do this. This is my
I
people. This
think
is
the
my
Pope
job.
was ready.
Hmm.
I think the Pope was ready to go home.
Yes.
He had that. I know that look. My father had that look.
Hmm.
He had that I'm tired look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
He
saw
had
it
that
in
I'm
some of
tired look.
Jeff's pictures too. The last few pictures that we took of Jeff, I could see that look in his face too that we took of
You know. Oh, when you
him.
go when you start. I know it's still early for you. He's only been gone a month.
Yeah.
When you start, when some time has passed,
Mhm.
and I promise you this is going to happen. When some time has passed and you start thinking about Jeff and looking at pictures, you're going to start to see that look.
Mhm.
I saw that with my dad, and
Yeah.
I know when it happened for my father. When my
Mhm.
sister died, when a man has to bury his daughter,
Mhm.
when your children, first of all, your children should not go before you.
Right.
Okay, that's not how it's supposed to work. Okay, and when my sister passed away, and I saw my mother and my father, I that was the look. My
Right.
father, I watched my father die that day because he and my sister were like two peas in a pod.
Mhm.
I'm more like my mother in certain things, in certain things. But I'm a lot like my father in my generous heart. But I can also be like my mother, very cold and very off-putting.
Mhm.
Depends on like if I feel like I'm being played or not.
Right. Right.
you know. But one of the things that's important is that you're going to need to do that at some point. You're going to
Hmm.
need to sit down, you and Joseph, you know, and it's going to be hard for him because he wants his dad,
Yeah.
and he's not here.
Hmm.
Um, at least he knows where his father is. I have a daughter and a granddaughter that are still living that don't talk to me.
Mm.
Okay, and that's the worst kind of death.
Yes.
Is when when you have a child and they choose to not to bother with you.
Hmm.
That's the hard stuff.
Yeah.
But when you have to let go, and sometimes you got to let go of family,
Hmm.
you know, blood does not make you family.
No.
Okay, it makes you related, but it doesn't make you family. There's a
No,
difference,
no, it doesn't. You're true.
and we're going to talk about that one night on the show. We're going to talk about. In fact, we're going to talk. We're going to bring Pastor Steve on and talk about that. I think it's important we bring Pastor Steve into some of these conversations, and he's looking forward to it, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Because I'll have a lot to relate to that because of his children
oh,
that he had
absolutely.
before, and a
Hmm.
lot of family that I thought they think of family that are not related to me, like you guys, you and Anita, and of course Pastor Steve, and everything. So I mean, we have a lot, so much in common that I think of you guys as family, and of course his
Oh, yeah.
children that didn't come to the funeral that didn't even bother to say, "Hey, I can't make it because of this." They should have told me, or ones that doesn't even talk to Jeff
I
at
know.
all.
You're my little white, younger Spanish sister.
Right, and,
Hispanic, Spanish, Hispanic, Hispanic.
right. Yeah, and his daughter that was gonna come to the funeral, of course, I know she couldn't make it because she was in the hospital, and she called me right from the hospital, and I know that
Oh,
she's had health problems, and the other one that was to come from Texas didn't even bother to say, "Hey, look, I can't make it because of my kids." He didn't even bother calling, and I thought
see
that was
there's no excuse for that.
that he could
There's
have at
no,
least called and said, "Hey, I can't come because of my
yeah,
kids," or "I can't come at all because of," he said he had
yeah,
to work. Really? His work
yeah.
wouldn't let him out because of
See,
his
I'm
daughter.
not, and if I'm honest with myself, and I've been very honest with myself in recent days, because I'm going through kind of like a metamorphosis.
Mhm.
But if I'm really honest with myself, I've done the same thing, not to that extent, because
Mhm.
you know me, Amelia. I'm not
Right.
real good about calling people back. I'm
Right.
not, folks. It's the truth. I'm not real
Or
good.
texted, you could have texted and said, "Hey, I
Or
can't make it," you know.
yeah, I mean, but eventually, I mean, I'll throw a little text, like I'll call you tomorrow. Give me a day or two. But I'll let
Mhm.
you know somewhere.
Right, right.
But because I'm not real good about like getting right back to folks,
Mhm.
I'm just not. It's just the way I am. But and I've been like that my whole life, though.
Mhm.
You know, I've been like that. But when you have the ability to do something and call somebody or text somebody
Mhm.
and you choose not to, see, it's not that I choose not to. I get busy with shit.
Yeah.
And you got to know me. And you could ask my wife.
Mhm.
I got an attention span of a rat, okay? I got the attention span of like a bug. All right. And that quick, I was like, okay, I'm off to the next thing. The other day, I'll prove my point. Anita says to me, Ange, did you do such and such? Yeah. I said, yeah, I did. He goes, okay, well, listen, because you left the cabinet open and you left this out and you left that out.
Uh-oh.
And you did what you're supposed to do, but you forgot to
Put
shut
everything back.
everything. Yeah, exactly. Because
Right.
I get so focused on moving forward,
Mhm.
I forget what's behind me
Mhm.
because that's what happens to me.
I've done
You
that
know,
before.
my head is always on like what's next, what's next.
Yeah.
Like I keep what's next is look behind you and see if you left anything out,
Yes.
and make sure you put the lid back on the mayo and shut the cabinet and put the bread back in the bread box and shit. Anyway, that's the kind of stupid shit. Um, Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's been like that too. It's like, or you'll forget to do something, or you'll be in the room putting something back, and then you'll see something in the room that needs to be done, and you'll
Mhm.
start putting stuff up in the room, and you forget that you had stuff
Oh
started
yeah.
in the other room, and you're like, wait a minute, did I put something back in here? But because what was I? Joseph was saying, Mom, you left something over here. I was like, wait a minute, I'm cleaning in here. He goes, but Mom, you started over there. Like, oh yeah.
I should tell everybody we were supposed to have, in case you were tuning in expecting to see Johnny Petillo, we were supposed to have Johnny Petillo on tonight. However, Johnny is with family tonight. Something
Yes,
came up. He's spending some time with family, and you know how we are here. Family always
yes,
first. Family always
absolutely,
comes first on this show. And so, but we will have Johnny back.
absolutely.
Um, I'm speaking of Johnny. I'm glad that you had Amelia some time to spend with Johnny and his. What is his wife's name, by the way?
Let's see. I met her for a second, so let me take a look.
Where'd she go? She went back home after you met her, or what?
No, no, no. She is a sweetheart. She was telling me, she goes, "Oh, I'll have everything ready for you and everything," and I was like, "Yeah, that'll be fine." And Denise, his wife's name is Denise.
What's her name?
Denise.
Oh, Denise. Oh,
Denise.
okay.
Yes. I want to make sure
Denise,
I got her
Denise,
name right because I didn't want to.
I'm so in
But
love with you.
and the great
Denise,
thing about
Denise.
that
Well,
is,
singing, you hear it? Denise, Denise.
yeah, they were so great to show up for the celebration of life, and he let me
Wonderful.
speak with Tony Orlando. I was so excited about that.
Yes, let's talk about that. Now, I will tell everybody, Amelia is like a super fan of Tony Orlando, tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak
Old
tree, that
oak tree. Yep, that's all I
giant,
want to say because he can
ginormous
only
hit
sing
that he had.
the rest of it.
He's still making money off that freaking song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that song made him a multimillionaire.
Yes.
So when you talked to Tony,
Mm-hmm.
like you know him, hey, my
Yes.
buddy Tony.
Yeah.
When you talk to Mister Orlando, he probably said, "Just call me Tony."
Uh,
Um,
I go, hello. He goes, hello, Amelia. I go, oh, hi, Tony. And I was just like all giddy. And he goes, I'm sorry to hear about the death of your husband. I said, oh, thank you so much. He goes, things, it'll get better in time. I just want to let you know. And just know that I'm praying for you. My heart goes out to you and your family. And I'm sending you a hug. And I said, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that. And I said,
yeah.
I feel that. And I just want to let you know, Tony, that I've had a crush on you ever since you were a little girl, since I was a little girl. And he goes, of course you were a little girl. And I said, well, I said, I don't want to make you feel old. He goes, oh, don't worry. He goes, but that made my day. And I said, by the way, I said, I want to tell you, I love you. and, uh, and I said, by the way, I said, I want to tell you, your wife, happy birthday. And he says, well, thank you. I said, by the way, if anything ever happens, I said, remember, I'm the next Mrs. Tony Orlando. Okay.
Oh,
And
jeez,
he started laughing. He goes, "Okay, I'll remember that." He goes, "You just made my day
that's
for
funny.
saying that." And I said, "I love you so
I'm
much."
I'm glad that he took a minute to talk to you. He's a
Yes,
great guy. He's a
he
really
is a
great guy.
sweet,
I
sweetheart.
mean, Tony is like what you see is what you get. Like that's
Yes,
that's him.
yeah, he is a
He's not
sweetheart.
like one of these guys that's different on
No.
stage.
Mhm.
My family just experienced that. Myself,
Mhm.
we went to see a guy named Sal Valentinetti. He was
Mhm.
one of the winners of America's Got Talent.
Mhm.
He was a Golden Buzzer winner,
Right.
and we went to see him. He was, you know, he's he lives in New York, which is not far from here,
Mhm.
and we went to see him perform at one of our theaters, a beautiful
Mhm.
theater called the Broadway Theater,
Mhm.
and he's just a nice guy. Like what he was saying and what he was doing was just like the things that you do,
Mhm.
you know, when just had a great voice and sang and told jokes and was talking about his goofy Italian family. And we actually bought, we didn't know this at the time, but we actually bought like albums
Mhm.
and t-shirts off the guy that it was his father. We didn't know that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the lady behind Anita, she goes, she goes, just so you know, that's Sal's dad.
Oh wow.
Oh, he went, oh, he's a big dude. Like his father's a big dude.
Hmm.
His dad towers over him. But he came out and he stood next to me and he gave my daughter a big birthday hug and you know, great guy. I said, Sal, do you ever do radio?
Hmm.
He goes, my father says I have a face for radio. I said, well, I
Just
own a
like
radio.
somebody I know.
Yeah. I smiled when he said that. I said, well, I own a radio station. He goes, oh, like local? I went, yeah. I said, I would love to have you on. I said, here's my, so I gave him my number.
Uh-huh.
I gave him my card. I said, I'd love to have you on. Um, and then Anita goes, you don't own a radio station. I said, yes, I do. What do
Yes,
you
it's
think I do every night?
WTBR radio.
What the hell do you think I do? Damn, lady.
It's Monday and Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thank you.
WTBR radio.
Yeah, thank you very much.
88.7.
And we own the letters and we own our spot. And yes, we own this is our radio station. We own
Yes.
it, by God. Jeez. Yes, I do. Look, it says it right there.
Yes,
You can't
WTBR
see it, but it
radio.
says it. You can't see it. You guys can't see it because you're on the radio.
Right.
But never mind. Go ahead, Amelia.
No, it's WTBR radio, 88.7.
88.7 and WWTF radio, 88.7. We have dual call letters. It's the same beautiful number, 88.7. Why 88.7? Well, that's got frequency, that number. The 88.7, folks, was a tribute to my late co-host, Shirley Bolstock. Shirley was probably the smartest person I ever, male or female, the smartest person I ever knew. That woman was all about frequency. And we're going to talk about frequency because one of the things we talked about the other night with Pastor Steve.
Oh, yes.
Remember the music,
Mm-hmm.
the frequency in the music. It's hypnotic. They're playing with your head. You don't know it, but they are.
Yeah, even with those little things that they show you, those little hypnotic things that they show you, that's playing with you
Oh,
too.
yeah, absolutely.
And they don't even tell you.
See, Amelia, when you and I talk to people, like they think we're crazy.
Yeah.
But then they go, oh, no, they're not nuts.
Yeah.
Well, Amelia's a little nuts. I mean, I'm perfectly normal.
You think you're normal.
But Amelia's nuts because she has to live with Joseph. But other than that, I mean, I got my hands full with Anita, and God bless me. Let me tell you something. I'm the lucky one in that relationship because she is my rock. That woman is my rock. I am toast without her.
Well, when they tell you frequency, anytime that they tell you look at this little symbol, look for 30 minutes, it'll relax you. Be very careful when you look at stuff like that.
No, don't know. Just walk away.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Be careful. You know what you do? Walk the fuck away. That's what you do. Move. Yeah. It's like move now.
Yeah. Don't look at that stuff to say it's relaxing or if does this move when if it moves it's because you're nervous or anxious. No, don't look at that stuff.
Speaking of relaxing, folks, we'll be right back after this.
Do you have sweaty balls or volleyball netty balls? It's time to make them ready balls. The Manscaped.com Lawnmower 3.0 will do the job and clean your knob with its patented no-nick head, so your head will function as desired. Enter promo code Wrestling Future for a generous 20% discount. That's enter Wrestling Future for a 20% discount. Manscaped.com and Wrestling with the Future, going balls to the walls with Manscaped.com and the Lawnmower 3.0. Your balls will thank you, and so will we.
I had so much fun recording that commercial. You don't even know. I had so much fucking fun recording that commercial. That was great. That was great. And wait a minute, here's the best part. It only took me 2 takes to get it.
Oh,
It only took me 2 takes to get it. You know what happened? The first time I cut that commercial,
uh-huh.
I listened to it back, and I sounded like I was going too fast.
Oh, yeah.
You
Sometimes
know,
it'll
'cause
happen like that.
I wanted to get it in. It had to be a certain amount of time, right? Because
Hmm.
you don't want to go. Who wants to listen to a 3-minute commercial?
Right.
If you had enough, you got to watch that shit on TV. I don't want people listening to that on radio. So I cut. I was like, I want to make this shorter, but I want to get everything in because you want to promote the product, how
Hmm.
it works,
The
how to
discount.
make you feel. Yeah, exactly. All that
Hmm.
stuff, right? So I said, let me listen to them. Take it back, breathe, pace yourself. So it's like, right? Breathe in.
Yes.
Okay, let's try this again. Boom. Got it on the second take. Zip. I was like, oh, man, that's why you are the mad dog. Hot damn. Yeah, it was, and I got it on the second take. It was like, okay, now just relax, like the guy who used to teach him broadcasting in school. Just pretend there's a naked woman. He used to say that. Just pretend there's a naked woman standing in front of you. You know why? Because
Why?
you'll never rush if there's a naked woman.
You want to make sure you get all the detail, huh?
No, for real. It's a psychological thing, Amelia.
Hmm.
Think about this. I want you to think about something. You cannot argue with someone who pulls their pants down in the middle of a fight.
Right.
That'll stop you immediately. Why?
Because you're
Why will
looking at
that
them
stop?
all bare.
No, think about it. Why will it stop you immediately in your tracks?
Because you'll either start laughing or you'll just be like,
No, you said it. No, you said it right there.
mm,
That's exactly what it'll happen. You'll start laughing
mhm.
because the idea of it's so silly. What are
Right.
you going to do? Can you get mad at somebody standing in their underwear in the middle of the room?
Probably
No, you
not.
got no
No.
choice but to fucking laugh.
Hmm.
Like who's going to fight with somebody, with their drawers on the floor?
Right. Or if they
You
fall
can't.
down and you're arguing and they fall, you're going to start laughing, of course.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
That's why people laugh. Like and we shouldn't do it. It's not really funny, but
Right.
like when somebody slips on a banana peel or they slip on a wet floor,
Hmm.
our first the human thing to do is like to laugh.
Right. Right.
And then you go, "Oh, I hope they're okay,"
Yeah, of
because we
course.
feel bad. Immediately, we feel
Mhm.
bad,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But
And that's what
that's
we
the thing,
did.
though. Like, when you're and I've cut a lot of commercials I mean, a lot.
Hmm.
I still remember my first commercial, and that was I'm not even shitting. I still remember my first commercial
Hmm.
45 years ago.
Wow.
45 years ago, I remember my first commercial. It was for Maxwell House Coffee. I remember it, and it went like this. Then I'm talking about now. I got to tell you,
Okay.
Americans love good coffee, and one brand stands out: Maxwell House Coffee. That bold flavor, that delicious aroma. It's no wonder more people choose Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in America. It's a smooth. n- how did oh fuck? And then see, I'm looking at you and it made me forget. It's a, it's the smooth nectar. It's the smooth nectar that all Americans wake up to, or something to that effect.
Good to the last drop.
Yeah, and that was it. And that was the tagline. It was always,
Hmm.
and it's good to the last drop.
Hmm.
And that was my first commercial was Maxwell.
Wow.
God, don't forget, it was 45 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I remembered that much.
Yeah.
But that was the
Yeah.
gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah, even like whenever I used to do like the lives on Facebook or when I was like that, to join us on Monday and Tuesday night, Mad Dog and myself, blah, blah, blah. I used to do it more than one take because I wanted to make sure it was under a certain time and I want to make sure I
Yeah.
wasn't going fast and want to make sure I got the guest name correct. And make sure I pronounced it correctly and
Oh, sure.
all the
Well, that's
correct
why when we
letters.
do,
Mhm.
promotional tags for the show,
Mhm.
and we put them on Facebook or or X or formerly
Mhm.
Twitter or any Odyssey or
Right.
any number of hundreds or thousands of
Yeah.
And by the way, we're on. Oh God, I mean, I got to get these people in. We're talking, and it reminded me. We are now on Listen Notes, Audible.com, Pandoki. Yes,
Oh
not
wow.
we are on Pandora, but we're on Pandoki.
Mhm.
We are on MP3 streams. We're on TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Amazon. I'm sorry, not Amazon.com. Amazon Radio. We are on Alexa. Listen to this one. We're on Alexa, folks. It's true. That's radio. Can't make a shit up. I was listening to myself the other day. I was Alexa, play What's the Buzz radio. And I hear our music playing.
Right.
And then all I hear was, it's 4 o'clock in Los I said, oh, man. I said, is that what I sound like? Holy shit. I'm booming through the room. My wife she always says to me, Angelo, use your inside voice.
Uh-oh.
She says to me, Ange, lower your voice. Here's what I do. Okay, I'll talk like this then. No, I don't mean lower. I mean like soften it. Like shut the fuck up is what she's saying. Because I'm first of all, I'm Italian and I get excited. Okay,
Yeah.
hey, that's number one. Number
Just like
two,
Mexicans, we get loud, we get
this
excited.
is my voice. This is what
Yeah.
I sound like.
Mhm.
She always says, use your inside voice.
I know that's what we have to do sometimes too when we speak on the phone at work. We have to make sure because some of the Spanish people or anybody calls, they're like screaming in our ear and we have headphones on and we're like,
Oh God, yeah,
we have to go like this, remove the
yeah,
headphones, and it's like, okay, you're screaming at me, so I have to use my inside voice to make sure nobody else can hear me talk to you because you're
yeah,
screaming at me and yelling at me,
yeah.
cursing at
Sometimes
me.
I got to put mine on just to block you out. Yep.
You sure you do.
It's all good. All good. What else is going on, kid?
Yeah, we just are going to be having some great guests coming up very soon, but we'll talk about that a little bit later toward the end of the show. And
I
I want to,
want to. Oh, you know what? We have to. You just reminded me. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
oh
but
no,
you
you go ahead.
just reminded me important. Tomorrow night we had to reschedule Manny Fernandez.
Yes.
Manny got a hold of Amelia, and I believe. Let me make sure that I got this right, Neil.
Hmm.
That he's going to California to spend time with his family. His niece is beat cancer, and he's going to Cal. Please tell me if I'm like along the same.
He's in California right now, spending time with his family. His niece, who was diagnosed with cancer, is cancer free, so he's
Oh,
spending
good,
time with his family. So
good
yes,
for her.
so yeah,
Absolutely, good for her. Okay, so I was in the ballpark. Okay,
yes.
all right, good. So Manny Fernandez will be back with us, but just not tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we are going to have. I want to make sure I get this gentleman's name right. Saul Molina
Hmm.
will be here along with Callum Yater. Callum is our a guest from last week. He's going to be a regular with us here. He will be part of the third man in the booth on Tuesday nights. Tuesday, of course, is our conspiracy nights.
Right,
And Monday is our general What's the Buzz show. But
right.
um, Tuesday is our chasing conspiracy show that we do here.
Unless
Amelia,
we
you
have a.
haven't done a
Mhm.
Chapman file in a while. What's coming up on Chapman's file? What do you got?
Oh, we're
Anything in
probably
the works?
we're probably putting that on hold for a little bit till I can get my head still on straight a little bit.
Yeah, I know it's hard. Amelia,
Hmm.
we said this before. I don't mean to beat this down, but Amelia's husband passed away
Mm.
a month ago, and it's it seems like
Just yesterday, huh?
yesterday. It
Hmm.
really does. And Jeff
Yeah.
was so young. He was only 63. He's
Yeah.
younger than I am.
Mm-hmm.
With that makes you, when a guy like me, it scares me because,
Yeah.
I'm only a couple years older than him.
Yeah, and we'll find out pretty much any day now with the autopsy, because here in Florida
I
it takes
want to
30 to
know,
45 days.
that was fast.
Yeah.
Whatever hit him fast.
Oh, absolutely. It was very
Because
fast.
it was just way too, like, what the, when he passed, ladies and gentlemen, well, Amelia was on the air with me,
Yes.
and we had some commotion on the air, and I said, folks, we're going to have to sign off. Something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happened. And Amelia said, Jeff passed. I'm not even kidding. Well,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I wouldn't think you would kid about something like that anyway.
No.
But that was like, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I even ran up. I told my wife, Nina, I said, Amelia said, Jeff just passed. Like just now.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yeah.
like, you realize how precious life is.
Yes.
How precious life is when you're talking to him an hour ago.
Oh yeah, telling them I'm gonna do the podcast, and I'm gonna come out here. We'll watch TV, have our supper, and he says,
Yeah,
"Have a great podcast, and talk to you soon." I said, "Yeah, sure. Thank you." He goes,
that
"Tell."
quick.
Yeah, he goes, "Tell Mad Dog I said hello," and I said, "Absolutely. I'll tell him I said hello." And
Yeah.
he couldn't wait to do conspiracy shows with you and get ready to do that as well.
You remember that one time? It's funny now.
Hmm.
I wanted to reach through the phone and punch him in the head.
Yeah.
Remember that one time he called? He was like all angry and stuff. He thought that he was getting like jealous or something.
Yes, I remember, and I was like, really, right in the
Fucking
middle of a
jealous.
grocery store.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
said, what the hell is Amelia? What the hell is going on? This
I
was
was
you.
like, "What the heck did you take my phone for?" I'm like, "I'm just talking to him about a show. Why does he have to prove that he's married? Come on."
Oh my God. Yeah, he wanted to know, was I married? Yeah, I'm married.
I was like, I've proven to you
Course.
he's married.
That
I've
was
got
was
pictures.
that the whole thing? He was like, I was wondering. I often wondered, like, what the hell was going on? And that's
Hmm.
what it was. Okay,
Hmm.
all this time I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, jealousy, I guess. I was like, why
I,
do you have to be jealous for
of
he's
what?
got a
Yeah,
beautiful wife and everything. He's married. I said, "You're married, so stop it." And I was like,
yeah.
"You got to put you in one corner and
That's
somebody
when
else
you
in the other
take
corner."
like a heavy can of you know, like canned sweet potatoes or something that's got some
Something.
weight to it,
Yeah.
and you hit him with it
Hmm.
or throw it at him.
Pumpkin pie or something.
Yeah, anything that's close by that'll make a mess.
Hmm. And
Anyway,
then he got home and he apologized. He called you, apologized, and everything. Y'all became best friends after that.
I said, yeah, it was a great guy. You know what's funny?
Mhm.
I want to show you. I came across did I tell you I came across the video of you and he when together when we're talking about Elvis, the
I
Elvis show
even
that we
sent it
did?
to the kids too. I said, "Here, look at this."
Yeah. Yeah, I found that video. It's like,
Hmm.
wow, look, it's like, and I hadn't seen it,
Hmm.
God,
And I
all this
think it was right
time.
before I got my laptop, and he was over here with his finger like this. I said, "Don't do that. Don't touch my phone," because he
Yeah.
kept trying to touch the phone to move
I
the
remember when
screen.
you used to, oh my God, I remember when you used to do the phone sitting up in bed with I mean, you
Yeah,
used to
I
do
had
the
a.
show. She used to do the show
Mhm.
sitting in bed with her phone up like this.
I had it on a box, on a crate, and then a
Oh my,
towel holder, because I didn't know anything yet, because I was just starting out. And then
yeah,
finally, I was able to rent a laptop, and then I saved up money to buy my own laptop. Hmm.
yeah. And then now she's got a freaking studio in her house.
I got 3, 4 lights here, and
Backdrop, professional backdrop.
yeah,
Yep.
it doesn't take much to do this, folks. So if you're thinking about
No.
starting a,
The only thing it takes is a lot of patience. A
right,
lot of patience because
hmm,
sometimes you deal with people you want to smack.
right,
I'll just be honest with you. I'm not going to mention this, but you'll know who I'm talking about.
yeah,
I'm not going to mention his name, but we had a guest on recently that did impressions, and He did great impressions, but he was just a miserable son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
His mother was a big star back in the day. She
Mm-hmm.
did a sitcom
Yes.
called The Days Are Happy. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, The Days Are Happy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And wonderful actress, but your son is a miserable fuck. Sorry, but he is. Those are the kind of people like that you have to have patience with
Oh, very much so. It's like,
because he's very talented,
mm-hmm.
but as long as he's in his little niche. Remember what I said? I said you're kind of nicheless right now.
Yeah, and as long
And
as
he
they
goes,
talk about him only and not anybody else, he's all happy.
yeah. As long as you talked about him only. Well, guess it don't work that way because
No.
when you talk to a person like that, you got to talk about other things,
Yeah.
like how did he become who he became?
And was he in that show as well? And of course, we had to mention that because he
Right, when
was.
he was a little kid, he was
Mhm.
absolutely
Yeah.
because he's younger than I am.
Yeah.
So he must have been, I don't know. I was a teenager when Happy Days was on. I was like 15, something like
Yeah,
that.
and I remember watching that show too. I mean, even
16.
from the end of it to and even the reruns when they were on there, I remember watching them
Yeah.
and all these other shows that the mom was on too. I mean, she was, wanting to be remembered for that show, but not really remembered for just that show because she did other things as well.
Oh God, of course, of
Mhm.
course.
And a lot of the time, that's what's bad about actors when they do a show for so long, they get
Yeah.
remembered for that certain show.
Well, you know what happens? They start to resent it.
Yes, they do.
They
Exactly. They
start to
start.
resent it, and we've
Mhm.
had a number of people on the show, and I've interviewed, even before Amelia came along, I've
Mhm.
interviewed a number of people in my career who just hated what they did
Yeah.
because they did it for so long that that's all they could do.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. We had Dean Butler on from Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
One of the things that saved him is the fact that after Little House on the Prairie, he was a little bit older and he could
Yes.
do other work.
Hmm.
Plus, he wasn't there for so long that he got a chance to get bored with it.
Right.
He was in, he grew with the show, and then he left,
Right.
when it was time for him to leave. But you see, that's the thing, though, Amelia. And then a lot of people don't understand this. You have to know when it's time to leave.
Oh, absolutely. You have to
And
be there a certain time, and then that's it. Just a few
you
years.
stay, when you stay, how do they say? When you stay past your welcome, is that how they
Become
say
part
it?
of the furniture, as they say.
Yeah, you become, yeah, exactly. You become part of the furniture.
Right.
Like Amelia, I tried to get rid of her like 300 times already, and she's
Yeah.
still
He's
here.
tried.
Like a fucking pair of shoes I tried to throw away, and I took them out of the trash can. I did
Yeah, I
too.
came walking back.
Oh man, no, I had a pair. I literally did that. I had a pair of sneakers that I was going to throw away, and I went, no, man, I can't throw these away. I got to clean them up because they're really comfortable.
I know some of the ones you can't throw
Yeah.
away. They're too comfortable for that. But
Well, tell everybody what's coming up,
Mhm.
and we'll get this party started. We'll get this party started. We'll get the show on the road here.
Right. Well,
And
we're
then
already doing you already told people we're doing the conspiracies tomorrow. So
tomorrow night, chasing conspiracies. We're gonna
Mhm.
go down a couple rabbit holes and talk about the Pope,
Mhm.
the late Pope Francis. We'll talk about what happened in that little space capsule. Did they really go to space? No, they did not.
No.
We already know they did not. Now, how do we know? We're going to tell you tomorrow night. Not only are we going to tell you, but we're going to show you.
Ooh,
Yep, we're going to show you. I got the video.
cool. I can see that.
Yep, I do. I got some
Monday.
film.
right? We're going to talk to Angelo Capone on the 28th on Monday. He's going to come back
Angelo
with a
will
third
be here,
time.
and who else will be here next night?
It'll be the third time, right, that we talked to him. And on the 29th, we're going to be speaking with Eddie Deason again for a return guest.
Eddie Deason. He will be here and talking about his films, and we're going to talk to him about if we can get him to concentrate on one subject.
He's such
Eddie's
fun.
a great guy, but Eddie Deason, I like Eddie. We have the same manager.
Yes.
He's my publicist. He's Eddie's manager. And Steve Joyner. And Steve's a great guy. I love Steve's one of those guys. When he gets on the phone with you, here's what you do. You can't get a word in. Just let Steve talk. Just go. Take notes. Don't try to talk while Steve is talking. Just take notes. Go. Yep. 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 And if you do that, you're good to go.
Just write down all the notes that he tells you, right?
Eddie Deason is one of these. He's a great guy. Eddie's a great guy. But if you don't reel him in, he'll go off in like 12 different directions with a conversation. Oh, my God. We went that time that we had him here. He went from Elvis to the Beatles to Jerry Lewis to, oh, my God. I couldn't keep up. Amelia and I sat back like this. Drinking our
right? Like
drink coffee meal.
Drink coffee time, drink this time. But, he was just, needing a manager so badly, somebody else to represent him. And I think that was his issue.
I got him a manager. I hooked him up with the guy.
Yes.
And they met, they spoke, and apparently the person who I hooked Eddie up with either misrepresented himself and as being more important than he was, which I believe was the case, or he didn't have the kind of juice that he thought he did, because he only had one client, and that was Jerry Lewis. And that was the only client he ever had was Jerry Lewis. And I'm not going to mention that person's name on the air.
No, I understand.
Because he doesn't live that far from me. He only lives about 10 minutes from here.
Yes.
But he was Jerry Lewis's personal manager for 40 years. Lives literally like 10 minutes from where I am. People don't realize Jerry Lewis was from New Jersey. A lot of people don't even know that. They think he was from Hollywood.
No,
Jerry Lewis was from New Jersey.
Yeah, he had a lot of great talent come from New Jersey.
Oh, my God. We have a Hall of Fame here, New Jersey Hall of Fame. We're going to do a show. Write that down, Amelia.
Okay.
We're going to do the New Jersey Hall of Fame show. I'm going to try and get somebody on from the Hall of Fame. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to say goodnight to you. We will see you again tomorrow night, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, and God gives us another day. Remember, tomorrow is promised to no one, but we pray that the Lord finds mercy in his heart to give us another day and not take us all out. I personally pray, Lord, to bring peace to Amelia and Joseph and her family, and take care of Jeffrey. Jeff, we're looking out for you, kid. Hate to see you go. But you got an angel in heaven now, Mil.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. I got a couple of them up there. I got my sister and my father. And I got Rocky and Princess, too, looking out.
Go. I've got Daisy. I've got
keeping
Dino.
me from getting in trouble. Thank God. And thank them. But until we see you tomorrow night, take care of each other. Be kind. It doesn't take, you know what? It takes more muscles in the face to frown than it does to smile. That's true. It's absolutely true. On that note, for Amelia, the Pitbull Chapman, I am the Mad Dog. Take care. We love you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.